Robinson. Welcome to another episode of Trend Watch. We're going to spend 5 episodes here looking at trends coming out of our outlook. So instead of looking at headlines that come up, if anything huge comes up, we'll certainly jump on it. But we wanted to spend some time looking at these trends that we expect to really be influencing businesses and the technology workforce over this year of 2026. The first trend that we're going to start with, we'll just go ahead and get it out of the way. We're going to talk about AI. And the trend that we have in the outlook is that the push for AI will continue, as will the push for organizational value. We've all kind of lived through this past year of experiencing a little bit of tension in the AI space, whether we're talking about an AI bubble or we're looking at how much energy AI consumes or we're hearing about all the promise of AI. It seems like there are some really good things that could come from AI, but it also seems like businesses are having a little bit of trouble capturing that value. I think both things can be true. And I think that a lot of this issue stems from the fact that there are two big things going on with businesses today as they think about AI. And those two big things are AI as an individual tool, and on the other hand, AI as a corporate tool is what I'll call it. And from an individual tool perspective, generative AI got its launch with ChatGPT. That was a consumer tool. A lot of other things that have emerged have been consumer tools. And so that gives a lot of momentum to AI being an individual tool. From a business perspective, they're perfectly happy with that. AI can be an individual tool for each one of their employees, and it can help boost each person's productivity. And that requires some level of investment. It requires some skill building, but it's definitely a thing that they want to focus on. However, that's completely different from turning AI into a corporate tool and making it part of the technology stack, making it part of the suite of tools that get used in a workflow. That's a completely different activity that has an adoption curve. Both of these things are on different hype cycles. They have different time frames and different expectations. From a business perspective, they can certainly get a lot of value out of creating individual productivity boosts using AI. But one of the fundamental reasons that businesses exist is because they scale out individual effort. And so ultimately, they're hoping to get the most return by turning this into a corporate tool. And so there's bigger expectations there, but there may also be a longer time frame. So I think part of the tension and part of the confusion that we've seen in the past year comes from these two different buckets. They're both on different time frames. They both have different expectations. And on the one hand, we may be hearing about great things that are happening at an individual level. Maybe we even hear about a smaller business that has scaled that into some great things on a corporate level. But as the business gets bigger, those challenges get larger. And I think we really see the weaving of this individual effort and the corporate effort in the list of challenges that we asked businesses about in our IT Industry Outlook report. So the leading challenge there is cybersecurity and privacy concerns. I think it's the leading challenge by a wide margin because it applies to both the individual side and the corporate side. They want to make sure that however these tools are getting used, they're being done so in a safe way, and that there's privacy and that they're understanding the data. The second biggest challenge is trying to balance AI and human efforts. This also applies to either the individual side or the corporate side. And I think that what we see in a lot of businesses is that their first instinct is not necessarily to try to replace workers, but it's to try to figure out how AI can augment some of the work that's already happening and how AI can come alongside human effort, and how in many cases human effort absolutely has to come alongside AI because the results that come from AI might not be completely accurate. They might not be completely pertinent to the problem at hand. There are some other challenges in here that are really significant, especially on the corporate side. So getting all of the data together so that it trains the AI tools, this is a huge effort for a lot of businesses. We have seen that data challenges exist, even if they're trying to analyze data, even if they're trying to just manage the data. And now using data to train AI just brings one more advanced use of data into a picture where businesses are already struggling a little bit. They're also struggling to find clear use cases for AI within their workflow and then measure the return on investment that they might get if they're trying to build more AI into workflow or into the tools or even boost individuals and their productivity. But obviously, we see a lot of challenges that are related to skills. And some of these are a little bit more on the individual side, some of them a little bit more on the corporate side. So, the top skill related challenge that we see is companies saying that there's insufficient skill using AI. This is clearly directed at the individual level, the individual use of AI. Companies are saying that they want each of their employees to become more fluent with AI tools and AI systems. And I think this is an obvious reaction. I think that companies would also say that they want their employees to be more proficient in any of the tools that would help them boost productivity. And AI is just kind of the new kid on the block. But we definitely hear from a lot of companies that they are focused on enabling and upskilling this individual use and this familiarity and comfort with using AI tools. As you start to go down the stack, though, we see challenges arise in the core skills that somebody has in their job role. And I think this applies equally on the individual side or the corporate side. This means that companies are not just taking individuals and saying, here, use AI to do whatever you want. They're saying, we want you to use AI to really extend the skills that you have. And so, to the extent that they want those skills extended, there needs to be a really strong foundation in those skills, whether it's somebody doing a technical job or a business side job like accounting or finance or legal. They need those core skills to be strong so that AI can then extend them. And then we see companies wanting more technical skill to implement AI into their systems. And this is pretty clearly on the corporate side. They need that technical team to be strong enough to build an AI-enabled stack of tools that the workforce can then use in the same way that they're using their tools today. When we're talking about skills, CompTIA has developed an AI framework that describes different skill domains where we're expecting to see skills emerge or where we're already seeing skills emerge. And these AI skill domains don't apply only to one job family within our job role taxonomy. Something like AI security skills are clearly relevant for those people that are doing dedicated cybersecurity jobs, but they're also relevant for people in IT infrastructure jobs. They're relevant for the help desk. They're relevant for people in a line of business job. If you're using AI, you need to know how to do it more securely. And obviously, the level of those skill and the depth of that skill might apply, or it might depend on the job role. But these skill domains weave in and out of all the job roles. Another example would be AI data. It's clearly going to be used by those people doing data, database administrators or data analysts, but it might also be used by software developers. It will be used by the help desk. It might be used by an IT project manager. So these are different domains, and these domains are going to show up in lots of different job roles. One of the other domains that we're looking at is interaction with AI tools. And this speaks directly to that desire to have AI fluency and for each individual to be raising the level of their AI interactions and using tools more productively. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on all of these challenges and how businesses are tackling them and where they're tackling them. Are they focused more on an individual effort, or are they focused more on trying to build up the corporate side of things? One of the data points that we have that I have the most faith in actually comes from our State of Cybersecurity report. And it says that 80% of companies are going to invest in AI training over the next year. At this point, they might not know exactly what that training looks like, but I feel very confident that at some point, there's going to be a fear of missing out or a fear of falling behind, and they're definitely going to invest more in their skills. So we'll be keeping an eye on AI, and for our next trend, please join us next time on TrendWatch.